So after Bob Arum came out claiming that there's no investors that's willing to put the money on the table for Terence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao, the fight is off the table. And now what's on the table is Keith Thurman, Kell Brook, Ugas, and a Porter fight. Now, according to Bob Arum, as I informed y'all on Split Decision, he said that Keith Thurman is a possible fight, Ugas is a possible fight, and also Kell Brook is a huge possible fight. But Danny Garcia, not so because that seemed to be Errol Spence's next opponent. So if we being realistic, Bob Arum said Kell Brook is a great fight, and they contacting him every week, nearly begging for the fight. Therefore, Brook is definitely an option. The only main issue with that, Crawford is going to receive a whole lot of backlash for fighting a Kell Brook, since Kell haven't had a significant win since losing to Errol Spence. And Bob Arum pretty much know that. Bob is pretty much scaling his options before he gets to pick. And Kell Brook will have been the heaviest weight on that scale because of his fan base. However, his own fan base pretty much caused Kell Brook the fight. It's supposed to be the other way around. The fans supposed to help you get a mega fight. However, thanks to Kell Brook making excuses right after losing to Errol Spence, and his fans backing him up on that, from the eye socket excuse to struggling to make the weight excuse, now it backfired because 3 years later, you can still make welterweight. So did you really struggle to make the weight? Or did you struggle like every other fighter? Even Errol Spence had a hard time making the weight. So y'all get the picture I'm painting? It's funny how history repeats itself. The same incident took place at 122 with Donaire at the time when he lost to Rigondeaux. He blamed on the weight. Then he moved up to welterweight, got stopped, realized that the huge weight jump, or the fact that he's now fighting guys his size, is a huge disadvantage. So he'd rather have the weight advantage. Then, ironically enough, he moved back down, not just to 122, but to 118, and he's still fighting at 118 to this day. Nevertheless, the main point is, Kell Brook at this point have to prove himself, or at least get a significant win before getting a Crawford fight. We not here for a moral victory. We tired of hearing Kell Brook performing well in a fight. We want to see Kell Brook win. So with that being said, on the other side, Crawford have different options from Keith Thurman, who told him, send me a contract, watch I sign it. He's also an option. However, most definitely he will ask for a whole lot of money that ESPN can't offer at this point. So we could go ahead and push him off the table or put him on the side a little bit for something more realistic. Now, Porter already stated the fight is not going to happen with Crawford because the money ain't there. So we could also push him to the side. Now we have Ugas, who's left. The sleeping giant at the welterweight division. A guy that I believe beat Porter very comfortably, in my opinion, and pretty much got robbed that night. So with that being said, Ugas beat Crawford in the amateurs pretty comfortably as well. He also called out Crawford. And Bob Arum said he's definitely an option. Ugas is also a fighter that's willing to fight Crawford for the right amount of money. He ain't gonna ask for too much. He also willing to take a pay cut during this pandemic. I'm pretty sure Crawford is not going to be willing to take a pay cut to fight an Ugas, since it's a difficult fight, where he's 1,000% correct. Crawford shouldn't take a pay cut for a difficult fight such as Ugas. However, it's a tremendous fight to have at the welterweight division. It's a mega fight because it's nearly a 50-50 fight. Obviously, you have to favor pound for pound number one Crawford over pretty much anybody other than Errol Spence. But Ugas will give him a hell of a fight. Ugas, a lot of people sleep on his record. However, a lot of people are not informed. Most of Ugas' losses he suffered was pretty much him adjusting to the pros. And them same guys he lost to, he could pretty much beat them today. He's a completely different fighter today than he was yesterday. And him versus Crawford is an intriguing matchup. Now, if we do compare records side by side of Kell Brooks and Ugas, Kell Brooks has the better record. He only have 2 losses. Meanwhile, Ugas have 4. Kell Brooks beat Porter. Ugas lost to Porter. However, if we being truthful, both Porter and Ugas are completely different fighters today. They improved tremendously, especially Ugas. Also, Ugas coming off big wins, such as knocking out Omar and Dallas. On the other hand, Kell Brooks not so. So most of the time in boxing, records don't tell the whole tape. There's more into it than that. Timing is everything in the sport of boxing. It matters when you fight your opponent. So if Ugas fights a Kell Brooks today, he will be the favorite to beat a Kell Brooks. Furthermore, I don't want to hear no complaining if Crawford does fight an Ugas. There will be no room for critics. 0. No oxygen, because Crawford filled up the room with smoke. It's only right. It's his middle name, Bud. However, for some odd reason, the narrative is always Crawford is avoiding this guy. Crawford is avoiding that guy. Crawford is avoiding Ugas. Crawford avoided Postal. Crawford avoided Flex Diaz. But as soon as he fought those guys, like the Postals of the world, and made him look like a nobody, when he fought Flex Diaz and knocked him out, then all of a sudden, they flipped the script and called those guys a nobody. However, before the fight, Crawford was ducking them. And if Crawford didn't fight those guys, everybody will have claimed Crawford ducked every single one of them. So, fighters on the coincidental list, you damn if you do, damn if you don't. Like Roy Jones said, it ain't that they are a nobody. It's the other way around. I make them look like a nobody. So give credit where credit is due. So if Terence does fight Ugas, I don't want to hear any complaining. This incident reminds me when Floyd Mayweather fought Pacquiao. Everybody claimed Floyd Mayweather ducking Pacquiao, when it was the other way around. And I proved that on more than one occasion with facts. And facts trump emotion. So help me figure this out and comprehend this. Supposedly these decaps said Floyd Mayweather ducking Pacquiao. As soon as Floyd Mayweather signed on the dotted lines, he haven't even fought Pacquiao yet. Keep in mind, he's just signed to fight Pacquiao. All of a sudden, Pacquiao is old. All of a sudden, they making all type of excuses for Pacquiao, even though Floyd Mayweather was the older out of the two. So you can't even use that excuse. Manny Pacquiao still kicking ass till this day 5 years later. But the point I'm trying to make, these decaps never fail to disappoint me when it comes to cracking me up, because their excuses are so dusty, you can easily debunk it all day with facts. And facts trump emotion, execution over excuses. So with that being said, that's exactly what they're doing to Terence Crawford today. They tell him you ducking this guy. As soon as he fights him, they flip the script and say he's a nobody. So if Terence Crawford does fight an Ugas, who I have Ugas ranked as number 4 in the welterweight division, then I don't want to hear any complaining, because Ugas is pretty much the boogeyman in the welterweight division. He's calling out everybody. He's calling out Porter. He's calling out Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, Danny Garcia, you name it. And if Crawford is the one to give him the shot, then you all have to give Terence Crawford his props for always doing what y'all claim he won't and proving y'all wrong every single time. Ugas is a more dangerous fight than a Porter for Terence Crawford, in my humble opinion. So with that being said, What y'all think about this matchup, Ugas versus Terence the Bug Crawford? We're going to talk about it on Split Decision more so subscribe below if you're trying to get smart about a minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't. And listen to these decaps, aka dumb casual ass fans / old media that don't know ish about boxing. Shout out to DBN, the entrepreneur of new media that I'm a part of. Always hashtag new media, that's the movement. And if you're a casual fan and you want to be a hardcore boxing fan and graduate from the Akhi University, all you have to do to become a hardcore boxing fan is click on the notification bell to get notified every time I post or go live on Split Decision. It's a boxing debate / talk show where Akhi's the past, present, and future undisputed pound for pound #1 when it comes to debating. They treated me like the Iron Mike of debating, the most feared. I have Floyd Mayweather undefeated record on Split Decision with 500-0 and 500 KOs when it comes to knockouts. The best record when it comes to debating. However, none of these decaps got the cojones to call in and debate Akhi. I mean, don't y'all wish y'all want to put the blemish on Akhi record? On camera, on live, on my own show? Then grow the cojones and call in and put the blemish on my record. If I had a lower IQ, I could have enjoyed y'all debate. So with that being stated, I appreciate all my Akhis call in to talk boxing, because you know Split Decision is a boxing debate / talk show with my Akhis. So to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Ak TV. Peace, and we out of here.